Hello, everyone. Happy Friday to you, and thanks for joining us here on Wave Listens Live. I'm your host, as always, Brian Schlonsky, and as always, we have got a great show for you on tap today as we take you right to the rundown now, show you who you can expect. We've got the Elder Advisors on for 2 segments. They've got the upcoming workshops, making sure you don't go broke in a nursing home. And then we've got the Alzheimer's Association joining us as well. Of course, the Walk to End Alzheimer's is upcoming. We'll fill you in on all those important details. So we'll start things off, though, here in studio with the Elder Advisors and Larry Weiss.
Hello, Kentuckiana.
President.
Hello, children. Hello.
Always with us. Always a nice hello from him as well. And Amy Wheatley, attorney from Stein Law Offices. Good to see you back here again as well.
Hello.
Let's start with you, Larry, because I know we got the workshops coming up, and we got to let people know what's up.
We have a busy week next week on the workshops. Don't go broke in a nursing home, Kentuckiana, because you don't have to. It's that simple. You really don't. And it's fundamentally just such an incredible, stressful time for families. You know, they're trying to take care of their kids at home, their kids in college, now they're dealing with their parents in their 80s. They're very much a sandwich generation, and so much of everything that people are operating under is what I call the barbershop law. It's well-intentioned, but it's usually wrong, and it stresses them out. You know, they hear all these horror stories, and that may have happened with that particular family, with that particular set of facts, but the reality is, Brian, you don't have to. For husbands and wife, we can keep all the assets if one spouse goes into care. If it's a single person, we can keep right about half of the assets to do that. That's crisis planning. That's why we're doing the workshops Monday in Louisville, Tuesday in Clarksville. Wednesday, we're going up to Madison, up the river in Jefferson County, Indiana. And we've had a lot of people hit the freeworkshop.com and register on the Eventbrites for Madison. So I guess Lindsay Fleming was right for once. Lindsay was like,
that's the spot to be, right?
Yeah, right. And I can say that because she's out of town on vacation, so she won't hear the affirmation I gave for her.
She doesn't get props when she's here on the show. You can't let anybody get too big of a head around these parts. All right, Amy, I'm going to go to you because Elder Advisors obviously has such great partners that they work with. As Larry mentions before, since he's not an attorney, they're not attorneys. That's why we bring in someone from Stein Law Offices and talk about where you come in and how you can help these clients.
Sure. So I can come in and help draft the documents that actually get this process started. There'll be, powers of attorney. There's going to be living wills. There's going to be financial power of attorney and healthcare power of attorney, a living trust, an asset protection trust. All of those legal documents that you actually have to have, the skill and knowledge to write. I do that, and then Larry and his team will then go about helping people prepare and put things into those trusts.
Yeah, and Larry, we talk about how you guys are able to streamline this process for people, because I think before, if you've never been to a workshop before or met with somebody like you don't even know the levels of how much goes into asset protection and doing this planning.
No, not at all. And first of all, special shout out to Dennis and Rita LaFaute. Hello, people. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Right.
She has a list of people we can shout out and those we can't.
Yeah,
we picked on a couple
right
last time.
Show, I was given a friendly reminder. Okay, can you say that?
Uh-oh.
Can you say that? Okay. So just saying hello, greeting is okay.
I thought what was coming next one might have been my fault.
Brian, with the level of perfection you bring to the show, no, not a chance.
Okay.
Not a chance.
I'll do my very best.
Well, and the funny thing is, we're going to talk a little bit about the mistakes and misunderstandings people have with gifting and stuff, and Doug York from DMO Accounting will talk about that. But when we're at the workshop or on the private consultations, we'll sit down, and so many times we'll find the families say, well, I went ahead and added my 2 kids to my checking account. I always kind of get a shudder when I hear that. Or I'm really thinking about putting my 2 kids on the deed to the house. And with that, since that's always kind of a legal nuance, let's bring it right back to Stein Law and Amy Wheatley, because I think that's probably warning.
Yeah, I mean, I think that in theory that's fine,
sure.
and that does accomplish what you're hoping to accomplish. But there are other things that could happen. If those kids go through a divorce, then your house is an asset in their divorce. Or if those kids get some sort of a bankruptcy or something like that, your house becomes an asset in their bankruptcy.
These are the levels to the thinking that you guys are able to put in from what you've seen before, that people who are going through this process maybe are only thinking of the first step of this.
Exactly.
I think this is a good way to protect it, but you guys have now thought 5 steps down the line to be able to protect assets if something like this occurs.
Well, it's not our first rodeo. We've done this one a bit.
Well, and
first or second.
Well, and Thanksgiving is around the corner, and let's have an awkward Thanksgiving dinner conversation when mom and dad are sitting down and they're turning to their daughter-in-law and going, why aren't you signing that deed? We need to sell the house into a patio home. Can you imagine the fun at that dinner? Right?
Exactly.
Because that's what they're setting themselves up for, right?
Right. That's exactly right.
Let's talk. You had in the notes too about the people hear about things like LegalZoom. Let's talk about. Yeah, I see the eye roll. Let's talk about that one.
Yeah. So I went to school for a long time and spent a lot of money doing it so that I could learn to do these things. If it were easy enough to just Google and figure out what you needed to do, nobody would go to law school. You wouldn't spend that kind of money and that kind of time. So those things are one size fits all. They don't handle the nuances that a lot of people have in their lives, that most of us have in our lives. And so it's, just like when people go to the hospital and they say, well, I read on the internet, the doctors roll their eyes then too, because, the internet just cannot be a good substitute for an actual professional.
Larry, you always have a great line, and I don't want to butcher this, but I think it's if you don't plan ahead, you're planning to fail. Yeah,
if you don't no one plans to fail. Now you missed it.
I told you.
I've done it for years, seamless.
And it's so good.
No one plans on failing. People fail to plan.
There it is.
Thank you, America.
There it is.
Thank you, Canada. Thank you, Mexico.
So much better than my rendition.
Wow.
But it's so true, and I think that's one of the assets that you all provide in asset protection.
Yeah, we had a family sat down recently. The husband for her, he's busy, and the wife came in and stuff. Been married 40 years, and one of the first questions I was asked families and at the workshop is, do you have a power of attorney? And she's like, well, no. And I'm like, that can just be so bad for all kinds of reasons. I had a lady come in last night. Her mother's in the nursing home. First question asked was,
do you have a power of attorney?
Answer is no. So we'll go right back to Stein law, the problems with that, because now this is a crisis and it's going to be a super crisis.
Yeah, because without a power of attorney, that is a document, a legal document that allows you to act on behalf of someone else. And a lot of people think that, oh, well, we're married. I should be able to act on behalf of my husband. We've been married for 20 years. I know his favorite foods. I know what size shirt he wears. But if he has a check in his name only, I can't go and cash that check without some sort of a power of attorney because I cannot legally act for him. So the power of attorney is what enables people to act in other people's stead, and then it allows Larry to do a lot of what he does. Now, the magic.
This is why it's so important to go to those workshops, get some of this information. We've got another segment coming up here with Elder Advisors. We're going to bring in Doug York, an accountant. So we've talked on the legal side of things, the accounting side coming your way after this short break. Don't go anywhere.